Hi, boys and girls. Welcome back. Today we are going to read chapters 19 and 20. Before we get started, I wanted to take us on a little tour of a place that our main characters, the kids and their uncle, are going to visit. And in order to do that, I'm going to share the screen here. And one of the places that they're going to visit is called Burrito Springs. And I simply typed in the name right here, as you can see. And then I clicked on this. Burrito Springs is in California. And when I went here, um, I thought it would be interesting to just kind of get an idea. I've never been there, and I'm guessing most of you probably haven't been either. So I thought it would be nice if we could get a concept map of maybe what this place might look like and feel like and maybe even smell like. It's probably hot and dry. I bet the characters are thirsty. And so as you can see, this is Burrito Springs. And looks like they have some neat monuments there. You can read about it. I'll put all these links connected with our video of the read aloud today. And you can just see that it is a desert town. There are approximately 3,429 people. So not a lot of people live there. Lancaster has about 40,000. They have 3,000. What I thought was interesting here is this is another picture. This shows where this desert area is, which is right in here. And it says these are the highs and lows for this time of year. The average in April is 69 degrees. Our temperature today, I think, is unseasonably cool, probably around the 40s, 30s, 40s. It's a little cooler, rainy. But here you can see it's almost 70 degrees. So just a little bit different. On this site, I'm not going to watch it right now, but I thought this was really, really cool. The best ways to see Death Valley wildflowers. This is a little quick video. It's about a 2-minute long video. I just would encourage you to watch this because it's called a super bloom, which only happens once a decade, which means once every 10 years this happens. So just a neat place that you can visit. The last thing that I want to go to is the fact that we're going to learn that Burrito Springs was the first international dark community. As I was reading it, I was like, I don't even know what that is, right? I don't know if you know. I didn't know. So I kind of did a little bit of research. And I learned this, that an IDA, International Dark, I don't know what the A stands for, Dark Sky Association, there we go, IDA, is a town or a city that has shown exceptional dedication to preserving the night sky through implementation and enforcement of quality outdoor lighting ordinance. So what that means is they have laws in effect. And so what does that mean? Let's come back up here so you can see. It means that we don't have light pollution. At night, if you look out of your house at night and look at the horizon, you're able to see off in the distance light. And it's not from the sky, it's actually from the cities or surrounding cities. We even see light pollution from Columbus and Lancaster as well. But if you are a member of the IDA, your community, look at this beautiful picture in Sedona, Arizona. Your community has put into effect laws that protects that. So as you can see, these are all different cities in the United States that are a part of this. And right here is Burrito Springs. So even though our characters aren't real, the places that we're visiting are. So you can see right here this beautiful picture of the night sky. It shows where it's located on the map in California. and just more information that you can go. But I thought that was really cool. It really helps us understand as we're getting in here how dark the night probably really is. If you don't have that light pollution coming from surrounding cities, and Borrego, we just found, is a very small area. Not many people live there. So that desert, it allows you to truly see the magnificence that's happening in the night sky, which is pretty amazing. So let's get into our book now that you have some information as we go to read. If you remember, they landed there and now they have the ATVs. So Tommy called, "First dibs on the backhoe." Beck and I hopped into the ATVs while Storm checked out the air conditioning in the RV. "It's perfect," she reported, which was a good thing because we were heading west into the Anza Borrego Desert. Remember, we just read about that, where the summertime temperatures average over 100 degrees during the day. And if you remember, when we read that, it said it was 70 right now, but the average was anywhere up to 90 right now during this time period. So in the summer, it's over 100. I don't like hot. "There's a state park there," said Uncle Richie, "and several camping sites. We'll make that our base as we gather intelligence and pinpoint the precise location of Senor Juan de Iturbe's lost pearl ship." Tommy and Storm rode with Uncle Richie in the RV. Beck and I took the ATVs, which were basically overgrown go-karts. We would drive them without a license as long as we stayed off the road, which we had absolutely no trouble doing. We set up camp at the state park in a canyon full of sagebrush and scrubby little trees. You might want to look up what sagebrush is. We set up camp at the state park in a canyon full of sagebrush. And of course, Storm immediately launched into a tour guide information dump. She was our walking, talking Wikipedia. Anza Borrega gets its name from two sources. The 18th century Spanish explorer Juan Bautista de Anza and Borrego, the Spanish word for bighorn sheep. "Was Senor Anza a shepherd?" asked Tommy. "No," said Uncle Richie. "He was an explorer. However, the desert is a home to many endangered bighorn sheep." Storm babbled on about the park and what its second biggest in the contiguous United States. That means all of them except Alaska and Hawaii. Yep, she explained. A park ranger cruised into our campsite in a Jeep. "Howdy, folks. What's with the backhoe? Don't see many campers hauling one of those." "Well, we were exploring," replied Uncle Richie. "We need to dig up some sand." "Here in the park?" "Well, probably not," said Tommy. "I mean, if you were a Spanish conquistador back in the 1600s, you would hide your treasure chest in the state park." The ranger stared at Tommy. "People do that sometimes." "Are you folks looking for the lost pearl ship?" asked the ranger. "Why, yes, indeed," said Uncle Richie. "But how on earth did you deduce that?" The ranger shrugged. "Met an interesting fella up at one of the resorts last night. We played a few hands of cards together." Uncle Richie's eyebrows went up. "Cards, you say?" "Just a friendly game of hearts. We got to talking and he told me he had a treasure map. Said a strange and mysterious Native American lady just gave it to him because he's a well-known treasure hunter." "Is that so?" I said. "Do you remember his name?" "Dirk McDaniels." We all nodded. Dirk McDaniels was new on the treasure hunting circuit, but he looked good on TV. He did a lot of shows for the Exploration Channel. The mysterious woman promised Mr. McDaniels that the map would lead him straight to the lost ship in the desert if he could decipher it. Of course, people have been saying that sort of thing around these parts for centuries. Of course, said Uncle Richie. Do you happen to recall where this intrepid gentleman, this Mr. McDaniels, was lodging? About 13 miles north of here, a place called Burrito Springs Resort. It's a golfer's desert paradise. Is that so? Said Uncle Richie. Yep. I met McDaniels in their fireside lounge. It was prime rib Saturday. Sounds marvelous. Perhaps I will venture up that way this evening. You hoping he might share his treasure map with you? Uncle Richie grinned. Something like that. So later that night, Uncle Richie stuffed a deck of cards, his lucky ones, he told us, into his safari jacket, and he rode up on his ATV to the resort to meet the map man. Meanwhile, the rest of us kicked back, relaxed, and watched the incredible light show twinkling overhead. Remember, there's a light show because they're a part of that association. Incredible light show twinkling overhead. According to Storm, the nearby town, Burrito Springs, was the first international dark sky community in California. To cut down on light pollution, they restrict and modify the lights on public streets, outside businesses, and on people's porches. That's why we can see millions and millions of stars and even the murky swoosh of the Milky Way. Makes me want to go there. How about you? Or one of those places? We'll have to look into that. It was absolutely amazing. The most incredible night sky I'd ever seen on dry land. But our evening celestial entertainment was interrupted by a video call from Mom and Dad. The stars would have to wait. So you can see how beautiful that night sky is. Chapter 20. How was your flight to California? Asked Mom. Awesome, said Tommy. The rest of us tried not to remember the landing or the barrel rolls or the loop-de-loops or whatever those other things were called when we were upside down and sideways with G-forces stretching our cheeks to the back of our ears. Did you enjoy that lunch I packed? Asked Dad. Beck and I burped up a little. We were remembering how we served that lunch twice. Ugh. We're safe on the ground, said Storm. The stars in the desert, Mom, are spectacular. We're enjoying our newfound freedom. Well, good. Where's Uncle Richie? Off doing some research, I told her. Well, we have a lead on a pearl ship treasure map, said Beck. Your first day in the field? Impressive, said Dad. Guess that was why Uncle Richie is such a treasure hunting legend. Maybe because he hadn't heard Professor Hingelbert's trash-talking Uncle Richie outside the bookshop. Or maybe because Uncle Richie let him land the airplane. How are things going back in D.C., I asked. Very interesting, said Mom. Indeed. Do you kids remember Professor Hingelbert from the night in the Smithsonian? Yeah, said Tommy. Cranky old dude needs to chillax. Be that as it may, said Dad, it's possible Hingelbert and his associates have just made a remarkable discovery. If it's true, said Mom, well, what'd they find? What they claim is one of the long-lost, handwritten original copies of the Bill of Rights to the United States Constitution. Well, where'd they find it? Kinko's, said Tommy. Oh, no, not exactly. Mom shifted into history teacher mode. You see, kids, In 1789, Congress agreed to draw up the Bill of Rights. Remember, we read about that and we learned about that in class? The first 10 amendments to the Constitution. George Washington, who, of course, was president at the time, directed 3 clerks to write out on hand 14 copies of the bill. One was kept by the federal government, and the others were sent to each of the 13 original states for their ratification. However, some have been missing for years. Well, what happened to them? History suggests that Georgia's and New York's copies were likely burned. Georgia's during the Civil War and New York's during a fire at the Capitol in 1911. Pennsylvania's copy was stolen in the late 19th century, and Maryland is unsure of what happened to their copy. But here's the problem, said Mom. The document Engelbert discovered is an old barn in Western Maryland, spells out very different rights than the text we're familiar with. How so? Well, the First Amendment, said Dad, is almost the exact opposite of the one we all know and love. You mean, and I looked to Beck, and we recited it together without taking a breath. It's another twin thing. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Mom nodded. The First Amendment in Engelbert's newly discovered Bill of Rights says Congress shall make laws for all these things. Certain it's a forgery, said Dad. Well, it has to be. Otherwise, everything we've taught you guys about America and its freedoms will have been a lie. So looks to me like there's another plot going on. We've got the treasure hunting going on, and now Engelbert. I don't trust this guy. I'm excited to find out more of what's going to happen. So thanks for joining today, and meet you back tomorrow for the next 2 chapters. Bye-bye, guys.